Okay. All right, so this is practice test 3, and we're all going to pay complete and total attention. The Friday before a long weekend, I know it's distracting, and you're kind of thinking about other things, but the Tuesday after a long weekend, you're going to take a test. So we need to be ready. All right, so here we go. Which property is shown? So the first one you said is distributive? I agree. We all get that one right. We all know the distributive property. Mrs. Field hammered that home for sure. Okay? What's the second one? It actually is not associative, because if you look at it carefully, what is in the parentheses on the left? X plus Y. And what's in the parentheses on the right? X plus Y. So we didn't regroup. The same things are grouped. What did we do? Change the order. And when the order changes, it's commutative.
Is it of something? Or
Addition.
Addition.
Yep. So that is kind of a tricky problem. Does everybody understand why that is not associative? Associative means you regrouped, you changed what's in the parentheses, and you didn't.
I want to put like a plus sign instead of.
As long as I can tell it's a plus sign. All right, what's the last one? Identity of addition, yep. It's the additive identity. When you add 0, you get the same thing back again. All of the practice tests have had 3 property questions, so it's not a huge part of the test, but if you want to practice, remember that practice sheet is in Schoology. All right, solve. Now we're solving. What do you think? Quadratic formula is a great choice, because isn't this a quadratic equation? And the quadratic formula will solve any quadratic. The numbers are big, but you will have your calculator, so you're not going to worry about that. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of, I don't know what 27 squared is. 729. Minus 4 times a times c. We need to be really careful, thank you. We need to be really careful. Who signed this, sweet pea? Oh, this is the greeter. We need to be really careful that we're keeping track of all the negative signs floating around in there. Remember, when you square negative 27, you get positive 729. This will never be negative here, ever, 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 ever. So underneath there, I'm getting I got 841. Is that a square root? 29. So now we have to figure it out. 27 plus 29 is 56. Divided by 8 is 7. And 27 minus 29 is negative 2. Divided by 8 is negative 1/4. This problem actually factors. When I get answers like that, I know that it factors. Oh, no, that's not the nice one. Yeah, so it factors like that. but this is fine. Working out with the quadratic formula is fine.
Say these are smaller numbers and the square root turned to like 2 root 3, would we simplify it or just keep it like before we start solving?
If you ended up with something like 27 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 5, you know, something like that, that's fine. You can't simplify that any further.
No, like what if before that you had a number and then it simplified to 2 root 3, would you simplify or keep the number you already have?
Oh, no, you always simplify. You simplify everything. So if this would have been root 12, you gotta make it 2 root 3. All right, now simplify everything. When in doubt, simplify. All right, what are we gonna do with this one? First of all, do you see the less than or equal symbol?
Yes.
That clues me in, I'm gonna have a number line. And all I need to do is figure out where the dots go on the number line, right? So here's my number line. Here's my problem. And just want to double check, I don't think I have any zoomers in this period. Okay, so where do I start? What do I start with? No, not -2. Right in the middle goes the opposite of that number, right? Middle number, middle of the number line, opposite. Then I'm going to count 3 and 3. So 3 this way puts me at 5. 3 this way puts me at -1. 2 dots on the number line. I either shade between them or outside. Since this is a less than, I'll color in the dots and shade in between. So my interval is just the numbers from -1 to 5. That's it. Everybody okay with that? All right. What about this next guy? What is your strategy here? Multiply by 24, because your job is to multiply by a number that will cancel an 8 and a 3.
Isn't there like a way you could do that where it's like the 3 and the 3x plus 3y? What is the possible?
Well, you can't, I mean, ultimately, when I multiply this by 24, when I multiply by 24, 8 goes into 24 3 times. So this is gone, and I end up multiplying by 3, and then this will be gone, and I'll end up multiplying this one by 8. But the thing that you forget, if you do it that way, is this has to also be multiplied by 24, okay? So normally we don't cross multiply, we don't cross multiply when it's a minus. We cross multiply only when it's an equals. But effectively, you're kind of doing the same thing. All right, did everybody understand all that squiggling that I just did? The idea is you want to make the denominators go away. So 8 goes into 24 3 times. The 8 is gone, and now I have a 3. 3 goes into 24 8 times. The 3 is gone, and now I have an 8. That 24 doesn't do anything. It just is times 24. So now I have 9x plus 3. Go ahead and put parentheses here if it reminds you you have to distribute. And this is going to be minus 16x minus 8. Don't forget, there's a negative 8 there. So that's going to be minus 16x minus 8 equal to 48. Okay? Now, let's collect my terms. So here I have a negative 7 minus 5. I'll add my 5 and divide by negative 7. Anybody working ahead? Did anybody else get negative 53/7? Okay. Any question about that one? All right, we have some more solves now. Okay, everybody catch this right here? So number line. Now I gotta figure out where to put the dots. This is not like the absolute value. I have to do something here to figure out where to put the dots. Anybody have an idea what I might do with that problem? I could factor it. Those of you that are anti-factoring, you could also use the quadratic formula. But this is an easy factor, so I'll go ahead and factor it. And that tells me my dots go at negative 2 and 5. Right? And 2 dots on a number line, I'm either going to shade in between them or outside of them. And since this is a greater than, I will shade my dots out. So my answer will be negative infinity, negative 2, or 5 infinity. Any question about that? Okay. What do I do with this next one? Square both sides. So squaring both sides gives me x plus 5 equal 236. So x equals 31. Now if I check that answer, because when I do the squaring, that's when I have to check. This is the one problem where you really should check. If I put 31 into my problem, does everything check out okay? Yeah, because 31 plus 5 is 36, and the square root of 36 is 6, so it works. Checks. So the answer is 31. We're not going to miss that one, are we? Please, 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 please. All right, what about this next one? This is a big problem. Split it in half. Do I need a number line and shading and all that stuff? Nope. Nope. Just solve it. So here we go. Split it in half. Pulling out an x squared is x minus 2.
Yep.
Watch it here. What am I going to take out? Negative 9, which leaves me with x minus 2, because you pulled out a negative. Now I have my match, which is x minus 2. So now I have to put together the rest, which is x squared minus 9. And x squared minus 9 actually factors into what? Please tell me you know. X squared minus 9, x plus 3, x minus 3. So I'm gonna get three answers, three x's, three answers.
3, -3, 2.
X equals 2, 3, and -3, yep. The order of those doesn't matter, so whatever order you write in is fine. All right, we just did a whole bunch of solving. Now, we're gonna do some simplifying with our eyes. How about that top one? What do you think I should do with that top one?
Just combine like terms.
What?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. First, I'm gonna have to distribute the negative. So 4 plus 6i minus 4 minus 7i. So, oh wait, the 4's are gone.
Yeah.
So it looks like all I have is -1i or -i. That's fine. That's what happened. What about the second one here? What do I do with that?
The 2 minus 3i on the bottom. So
Multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate of the bottom, which is 2 minus 3i. And I'll FOIL. All right, here we go, lots of foiling. So 16, is outsides. No, that's first. Outsides, insides, lasts. First, out, in, last. Then what do I have to remember? I squared is -1. So this is going to become a -6. And this is going to become a +9. Because I squared is -1. So I have 16 minus 6, which is 10, minus 28i. Over 13. Did I do that right? Does that look right to everybody? All right, any issues with the I part? Okay, then we've got our exponent simplify problem. All right, how do you want to start? Lots of things to do.
So the E for the
Eight for
4,
28.
4, my bad. My
Yeah,
bad.
4. These would reduce by 4, so I get 2 and 7. What is going on with the X's? They actually flip-flop, don't they? Because they're both negative. So we're going to have x to the 10th on the top and x to the 5th on the bottom.
Yeah.
Which will cancel to give me x to the 5th on the top. Okay, these flip. The 10 go up, the 5 come down. And it looks like this. Then we can cancel out 5 of these, and that leaves us with the other 5. Now, am I going to flip my y's? No, because that one's not negative. So he's staying down here, but these are coming down. So I have 3 and I'm bringing down 8, so that's gonna be y to the 11. Anybody have a question about that? Okay. Now we're gonna write the equation of the circle. The center is at -4, -3, and the radius is √6. So this is one that you just have to know what to do. So who remembers what to do? Who remembers what this equation is going to look like? X
plus 4
squared
plus x plus 3 squared
y plus 3 squared
equals 6.
Perfect. So it's x minus this number. Well, x minus a negative will be positive. And then y minus this number. And then this number right here is always the radius squared. So √6 squared is just 6. Okay? Now we're writing lines. So we've got 3, -2, and 6, 4. And I was very careful on your test. You have directions, how to write the line. So we'll write it both ways, so you practice. But on your test, it will say right in slope intercept or right in point slope. Okay? All right, we're writing first. Slope. I swear, if you screw this up, I'm gonna be so mad. Slope is y minus y over x minus x. Then what?
Put it in point slope.
Pick a point. Right? I'll just use the first one, makes no difference. Use whichever one you want. So y plus 2 equals 2 x minus 3. And if it says answer in point slope, this is it. But what if it says slope intercept? Then we distribute, so y plus 2 equals 2x minus 6, and y equals 2x minus 6. So slope intercept means get y by itself. Everybody okay? All right. Now I want to be perpendicular to something. We're going to practice test 3.
Yep.
Okay. Who signed this?
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith. Oh, social studies?
Yeah. Math.
Okay, we're taking a test.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to be perpendicular to this line containing that point. Okay, so it's the same kind of problem, but we start it differently. What do we have to do to get this one started? Olivia? You have to get y by itself in this equation right here. So negative 9y equals negative 3x plus 4. I gotta subtract the 3x. And then divide by the negative 9. So getting y by itself leaves me with that equation. Getting y by itself. So we're literally says, take the equation that you've been given and get the y by itself. Perfect. What does that tell me, Olivia? Why did I do that? Tells me the slope. The slope of this line is 1/3. If this was a parallel problem, I would use 1/3. But since it's a perpendicular problem, what slope will I use? -3. Remember, perpendicular means opposite or negative reciprocal. Now use my point. So y minus 2 equals -3, x minus 1. What form is this?
Point slope.
So if it's a point slope question, we're done. If it's not, then we have to distribute and get the slope intercept one. So one of these will be the answer depending on what the directions say. Alright, last page, we're ready to go. This is our throwing the ball in the air problem. So here's the general formula. And the first thing you're going to do is write your equation. So your equation, you can say S of t, or you can call that h. If you'd rather use h, that's fine. And it's going to be -16t squared plus what? 100t plus what? 0. And why is it plus 0? Because it's on the ground. So the ball is starting on the ground. Sometimes the ball starts on top of the building, so then it's plus 30 or whatever. But this ball is starting on the ground. So a picture of our problem is, here's the ball on the ground, here's the ball on the ground again. That's a picture of our problem. And this is your equation, and that is what goes in blank A. That's easy, but it's important because this is the equation you're going to use to do B and C, right? How high is the ball after 1 second? What do I do to figure out how high the ball is after 1 second? I fill in the 1 for the t. You guys, listen to me. This equation has 2 variables. It has height. Don't let this confuse you. It has height and it has time. You're going to have to plug in 1. You got to plug in one of them. One of those, you have to know h, you have to know t. So in this problem, it says t is 1. So my height will be -16 times 1 squared plus 100 times 1. Just be careful here. You square 1 times -16. I think that's 84. How high is the ball after 1 second? 84 feet.
I just have a question. So in the actual problem, it says 100 feet per second. So if you're going 1 second, wouldn't that just be 100 feet?
No, because at the point of release, it's 100 feet per second, but you're throwing a ball up into the air. There's a thing called gravity, and as time goes on, it slows it down, right? Yeah. Alright, when does the ball hit the ground? So now I am interested in this point right here. Now you guys, listen to me. It's just like before. Here's your equation. You either know an H or you know a T. To answer these questions, you have to know one. You gotta be able to plug an H in, or you gotta be able to plug a T in. For the one we just finished, we plugged in a T, because they told me 1 second. What are they telling me here? I'm on the ground. What does that mean? The height is 0. So now I have the equation 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 100t. Now you have to solve that. So what do you want to do? Sean?
Well, you can isolate the negative b squared.
Well, I can't really, I think what you're saying is, both of these have common factors, and I can pull out the common factor. So what can I pull out? A negative 4 and a t? That would be positive 4t because I pulled out the negative, but minus 25. So Sean looked at this and said, well, Mrs. Ford, since there's no number on the end of it, distant factor is really easy. I can just pull out my GCF. What else could you do with this equation? If that doesn't make sense to you, it's okay. You need another option. What's your other option? Quadratic formula. And if you do the quadratic formula, A is negative 16, B is 100, and C is 0. If I'm doing Sean's, I got it factored already, so I set these equal to 0. And I solve them. So it looks like I get 2 answers, Sean. It looks like 0 and 25/4. Our 25/4 is 6.25. What was the question again? When is the ball on the ground? Is it on the ground at 0? Yeah, that's where it started. And then it's on the ground again after 6.25 seconds. So 6.25 seconds is the answer to the question. That's when the ball hits the ground. Madeline?
But can you still factor the 25 and 4 squares or not for this problem?
You can't factor this because that's not a square. If it were, I would, for sure. But it's not. All right, one more problem. Well, two-parter here. Given these 2 points, what's A asking me to find? The distance. So the distance will be negative 4 minus negative 2 and 1 minus 4. Remember the distance formula says x minus x squared and y minus y squared. Add them together and take the square root. Watch all these negatives. What's happening in that first parentheses?
That would be
Negative 2 squared, which is 4. And then 1 minus 4 is negative 3 squared is 9. I got square root of 13. Sometimes those reduce. This one doesn't, so we're just done. Root 13 is the answer. And then we want midpoint. Midpoint is the middle point, the average. So I'm going to add and divide by 2. So -4 plus -2, -4 plus -2 is -6. Divided by 2 is -3. 1 and 4 is 5. Divided by 2 is 5 halves. And there you go. We just took your test. So let's go back